Okay, so for today I'm going to be using the iKon Slant. It's a 3-piece razor. Now I only have 2 pieces. I bought the slant head. And the base plate. A cap and base plate to make up the head. As you can tell on it, there are some unique design to it as far as these teeth that come up, and they don't really show it as much in this video from what I can tell just holding it up here in front of the camera as much as you can tell in real life, but they look like little teeth, like little cone teeth pointing up. And it gives it a pretty cool look as it's sitting on there. I'll be using the original Tradere handle. That'll be on there today. And I'm going to load one of my favorite blades. I think this will be towards the end of its use, which is fine. Rather just go ahead and use it instead of putting on a fresh blade. Plus, I only have a few days, 2-3 days growth worth right now. 2 days, I think. So the Bolzano blade, the iKon Slant head, and the Tradere handle. And Prairie Creations Walters, the Alpine. Smells good. I like it. Alright. I'll be right back to show a couple others from the collection after I load up the blade and show it in comparison to the Merkur 37 and the bakelite white ivory looking plastic one, Slant. Alright, have it loaded up. And there is what it looks like all fitted together with the blade and handle and razor in comparison. Maybe some design influences from some type of slant like this. This is very light. Slant razor to me is, I don't know, pretty mild. I would say probably mostly due to the weight being real light, which can be deceiving because then for me the lighter razors make me feel like I almost have to put a pressure on them. Now you can exchange other handles onto this razor, but most of the weight still tends to be in whatever the handle is versus the razor head itself. So if you just wanted to let it rest and go, you probably need to use a longer, heavier handle on it that can be held here, and then that way shift the weight out more that way, in my opinion anyway. And here it is against the Merkur. But you can see the Merkur is more of a square, whereas this is more rounded. The Merkur also has more of a flat, squarish top area, whereas this is all round. And just to show them to you using the Tradere handle and the head. You can see this one makes these look like little midget razors. Alright, So I'm going to pause, put these guys back into their storage, and come back, prep, and shave. Okay, so I already been soaking my, not that it needed to soak, it's a synthetic TGN 24mm knot in one of their 24mm handles, and I got them separate, got the kit, put them together myself because I have another Pure Badger brush where the knot just isn't doing it. So at some point I like the handle on that one, so I'm going to replace the knot in it. The knot's already out, kind of came out on its own. So that's why I just went ahead and bought them separate instead of a whole brush already put together. That way I could have the epoxy set. And that was from TGN. I've had water soaking on the puck. Clean that out. And let's just go ahead and see how this works. Again, I just want to load soap on the bristles, and today I've been going to bowl lather. So just getting this going, getting it nice and soaked up. Work in there a little bit. Notice that it's almost kind of like a springy type feeling. The ends are very soft and very fine. You can tell by looking at them up close that they're, you know, fake, because they have that plasticky, shiny look in the light. But the fineness of each fiber is pretty incredible. So to me, the 24mm seems like face lathered with it once, and it seems like it holds up to it pretty well because of the way the backbone and flex is inside of it. And it seems like as long as you load long enough, you'll be able to get plenty of soap in there. Plus you can always go back to your puck and do it a little bit longer for your each pass if you need to load a little bit more. Alright, emptied out, just a little bit of moisture in the bottom. Last time I bowl lathered using this, I used it in my Merkur scuttle, which has a different inside finish than this one does. This one has more of like a rough type feel on the inside, whereas the Merkur glaze on the bowl part it has a nice glaze on it, the scuttle. Add some water in here. One thing I've noticed for me with Chrissy's soaps is that lapse shave oils, pre-shave oils seem to break down the lather that when I've used her soaps. So it's one step in my pre-shave that I've cut out anytime I decide to use one of her soaps. Now it remains slick, it's just that the foam lift of lather itself just seems to break down. That should be plenty for 2-3 pass shave. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, wet my face, and lather up. Alright, here we go. Again, has that springiness to the bristles on this synthetic knot. Has a very glideful spring about it. To me, it paints pretty nice. Voila. Alright. This is my second shave with this iKon head. The first time I used my UFO handle, which has a different weight and probably about the same length because I used all three of my ends on it. Alright, tempted to look in here. I want to be looking up here. Alright. How's that? Pretty decent feedback. The other day I came back with one weeper in this area. One thing that I find interesting about this head is because it's curved, it's like when I go in this area, it's like, I almost feel like, you know, this is like a grater going against maybe cheese or something. Thankfully it's not doing that to my skin. It's like, you can kind of just go in that groove because it's so art. The first day I used it, I probably had maybe a day's more growth than what I have now. Being that this is a stainless steel head, it's got a good weight to it, plus a heavier handle. I'm not putting any weight. I'm letting the razor come down and do its business. Again, the point is hair reduction. One of my favorite attributes about the Tradere handle is this little ring that's down here. To me, it's like a pivot point to turn the razor. Perfect for me on how I'm flipping it around. My impressions. Oh, look, a couple weepers. So yes, it is still can be an aggressive razor, which take it a little bit slower. And again, like I said, one of the things I like to use is pre-shave oil, but I wanted more actual lather. And not just the slickness. Gonna rinse and lather. Alright. Rinse and repeat. Even though it feels a little bit more intuitive than the 37, Merkur 37 slant. It's definitely letting me know, respect me. It's like not anything bad, just weepers, but still. It means it's getting close. Or at least the angle that I'm using for the blade as it's going is cutting a little closer than what I normally would on a razor that I'm more familiar with. So that'll just be more getting used to on where that sweet spot is between 20 and 30 degrees coming against the skin. Alright, go one more, probably a little, I'm not going to go against grain, probably more at a diagonal. Rinse and lather. Okay, so this is probably a good teaching point, unless you have a razor that you're pretty familiar with, whether it be like just maybe a different handle, but it's basically the same head, or the same head that's used by multiple companies. Whenever you get a new head design, just be kind of careful on how you would take it and approach it. If you normally do like a 3-pass attempt against the grain on whatever your final pass is to try to get a BBS, then perhaps just something like what I'm going to do today, which is just going to be more of a diagonal cut at most, not against the grain. When I say that, I'm still basically doing it against the grain there. And that's because there's really no going for me this way. It just doesn't work. Water on the eyelash. There we go. Alright. Since I've already teased this area, this seems to be my more sensitive area, I'm just going to come back down. More sensitive areas, picked up weepers, just right around my Adam's apple, and the corners are in this areas here. So if you know of sensitive areas on your face, anytime you switch up on a razor, blade angle's different, just kind of remember that. But overall, it's not like I knew I was doing that stuff with the razor, so it feels like it's going pretty smooth over the surface and doing its job. Very nice. I don't have a BBS, but again, if you've seen any of my other shave videos, I don't really go for that. I like to go for something that fits my skin and gives me an opportunity to shave at a later date. BBS, I wouldn't be able to shave as often. Okay, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, thank you for watching, and again, that was for the iKon Slant head made of stainless steel and using the Tradere handle. Thanks.